Hey folks, Dr. Goodin here, and I'm going to start out with the title page of the dissertation. Um, you're going to note the north central ideas, notes. A lot of this is really useful. Um, so you want to pay attention to that 12-point font, just different things. Um, and you're going to see that this is sort of your discussion area. So when you work with me, this column is really going to be your discussion area. This is going to be where you write and where you track changes. If you don't know how to track changes, the way to make sure that's on is to always go to Review, Track Changes, and make sure that is gray. If the lines from track changes start to bother you, you can switch to simple markup. And notice that it just gives you a little comment bubble instead. And it will also show just a line on the, let's say we take out this word, it shows a line instead of showing what is actually happening, which we took that word out. I'm going to undo that. Or you can go to no markup and it won't show that those comments are even there. That's if you get overwhelmed. Typically, I do all my work with track changes not only on, they need to be on for everyone, including you. In fact, put a post-it on your computer monitor and say, "Our track changes on," and don't take it off until they are. So the next thing I would say is, switch to simple or no markup if you feel like you need to. This should be grayed out, and you can write comments to me about like, hey, I didn't know what to write here. And this can be conversational in nature. It doesn't have to be real scholarly or academic. You're talking to me, and like I said, this is where you talk to me. I can reply, well, here you should include whatever, something like X. Alright, I'm going to get rid of both those comments. Another thing about comments, so I'm just going to call this comment example as if I type something in there. And then you're going to say, I did what you asked, and maybe put a smiley face because you're nice. And then I'm going to say, hey, you can, or good work, you can now delete this comment thread. And a lot of people accidentally think that that means delete means resolve. It does not. Delete means actually get rid of. Okay, so delete comment instead of resolve comment. There's no button for it, so you need to right click and go to delete comment. Okay, which is what we're going to do. Before moving on, while we're in intro, I don't believe this page is actually included. You'll start with the title of your dissertation. We're looking for 12 words probably. 10 to 15 works. Insert in all caps. Actually, it's not in all caps. I don't know why I said that. Proposal, if it's just the first 3 chapters, or manuscript if it's the first, well, all 5 chapters. School of whatever school you're in. I'm currently in social and behavioral sciences. And you're probably, if you're working with me, Doctor of Philosophy. Here, this is in all caps, your first, middle, and last name. This, I believe, is outdated. And so you want to check on that. I think it's Sandhala. I may have spelled that wrong. California. And the one thing you don't do there is switch it to wherever you live. This is wherever the university headquarters are located, which may change on occasion. The abstract, here's the directions for it. We're going to come back to it later in a future video. But you really want to just put a pin in that for now. That's not necessary right now. It's not what we're going to work on. The abstract is really something you do after your 5 chapters, your complete dissertation. We call that the dissertation manuscript. Once they're finished, you'll come back and you'll be able to do this. You may have part of it written after chapters 1 through 3, which is called the dissertation proposal. So you'll be able to do everything except for down to these. But you won't have any results yet, right? So acknowledgments, you can start to work on that. The one thing I will note is you want to include your chair, your subject matter expert, and your academic reviewer. If you're at another university, that could be something a little bit different. Your second committee member, they might be called, or your methodologist, or your content matter expert, and even your academic reviewer might be called your university reviewer. It's called several different things. Chair is almost always called chair, and that's the person that's sort of responsible for about 95% of your progress. It could be 90. It can vary by committee. Table of contents. You want to keep these intact because these are actually hyperlinked. So if we change something later in the paper, if we move definition of key terms, we start typing, all these page numbers will change. And so we just go to right click, update field, update entire table, and it shouldn't really change anything. I'm not sure that it did. It just is showing us that it updated some things. It actually did. And it tracked those changes. That's why it turned blue. But these are built in, so you don't have to ever go back into your paper and figure out, okay, what page is this thing on, and then put that in. If you use headings properly, which they're already built in like this, so that's why we ask you to use the template, then they can change automatically for you. And so you'll be using headings. These levels are important. Heading 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. The Academic Success Center should be very useful to you. For more about the table of contents, click here. Okay, list of tables. You want to wait on that until things are finalized. Again, you're going to use headers so that you can track them. Here's a video on that. List of figures, same thing. Probably not going to have any tables or figures, probably, until you write your chapter 4. You might have one in chapter 2 or something, but it's unlikely. And next we're going to come back and go to chapter 1, Introduction.